Views, Plan, Elevation, and Sections. In this video, we'll take a look at how to create new views. Even though Revit, by default, comes with 2 floor plans and 4 elevations, there are many instances where you'll need to create more plan views, more elevation views, and section views to display your model. Let's first take a look at how to create plan views. To start with, let's add some walls, a couple doors, and some text so we can keep track of what we're looking at. We've been creating these elements on floor plan 1 or level 1. To create a copy or a new plan view of this exact one, you can come over to your project browser and right-click on level 1. If you find in the drop-down dialog box, Duplicate View, you'll see that there are 3 choices. You can duplicate the view with detailing, or duplicate the view as a dependent. If we select the first one, Duplicate, you can see in your project browser palette that it has created a level 1 copy 1 of that same floor plan. You'll also notice that the text did not come with that copy. If I split the screen so we can see the copy on the left hand side and the original floor plan on the right hand side, you can see that the text is in the original floor plan but not in the copy. Let's close that copy and go back to level 1. Right click, and this time we'll duplicate the view with detailing. You can see that this one is level 1 copy 2, and this brought over the text as well. The duplicate with detailing will bring over any annotations that are associated with the original floor plan. The last type of copy that we can create, we're going to close that copy too, go back to level 1, right click, is duplicate as a dependent. When we create this, you can see in the project browser palette that it has created a copy as a dependent, and it is the level 1 original floor plan is a parent to this new copy, which is a dependent. This is mainly used for when a floor plan is too big to fit onto a sheet, and you have to split the floor plan or an elevation into 2 separate parts so they can fit on a sheet. Let's go back to level 1, right click, and create another duplicate as a dependent. If we rename the first one level 1 East and rename the second copy as level 1 West, we can place these on 2 separate sheets. The strength in this tool is that whichever floor plan you create objects or annotations on, they will show up in all of the floor plans. Let's put the original over here on the right so we can keep track. And East is on the top here and West is on the bottom. And you can see as I add text, it shows up on all 3 copies. Let's go ahead and create some sheets so I can show you how this can be applied across several sheets. So now we have 2 sheets, and let's name the sheets the same as the duplicate views so we can keep track. We'll name this one West, and we'll name this one East. I'm going to close the floor plans and just work on the title blocks while keeping the original floor plan here on the right. So we have east on the top and west on the bottom. We can drag these floor plans onto these sheets. And furthermore, if these floor plans were too long to fit on a sheet, let's go ahead and extend this floor plan and make it a very long building. I have to make it even longer. And now you can see that it will not fit on the sheet. So we can create these dependent views, one for each sheet. If I activate the view here, I can drag the view region. And since this is the east, we'll go ahead and show only the east side of the building. And we can center that on the sheet. And we can put the title underneath it. Now we can go to the west and do the same thing on the west elevation. Though it's already cropped correctly, we'll put that back. And now you can see that it is showing the west. And that is what the dependent view does. It allows you to put half of the building on one sheet and half of the building on the other sheet. Meanwhile, you can add dimensions or text, and they will show up on the appropriate sheet. Let's go ahead and delete the walls and the doors. So we can look at a different way to create plan views. If we look at one of the elevations, you can see that there are two levels, and each level has a plan view associated with it, level 1 and level 2. I'm going to go ahead and delete the dependent views and the copies to make things easier to keep track of. So we have two levels and two floor plans that are created by those levels. But you might have a level that has no floor plan associated with it. This happens when you copy a level. If, while creating your project, you now want to see a view that is associated with this level 3, you can go to your View tab and your Create panel, and under Plan Views, you can create a floor plan. When you select that, you get a dialog box that shows the levels that have no floor plan associated with them. If you click on this, you will now notice that you have a floor plan from level 3 that you can view. Another reason you might create a plan view from a level that has no floor plan associated with it is if you accidentally delete one of these floor plans. Again, you can go to your View tab, Plan Views, Floor Plan, and find the level 2 that I had just previously deleted, hit OK, and it will come back. By creating copies of floor plans, I'm going to create the walls again. You can come here like we saw before, right click, duplicate the view, and duplicate it, and now you have a copy. I use these copies for things like structural plans or interior material plans, where I can take the copy, and here in the property palette, I can display the model in halftone, and so everything becomes lighter, the line weights, and I can draw the structural information on top of this, or the lighting layout, or again, the interior materials. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Moving on to elevation views, again you can see that Revit has 4 elevations that come by default, the north, south, east, and west elevations. Let's create some walls. And I'm going to put a roof on this building. And now we can look at it in the elevation views. You can see that the elevation is a vertical view of the building looking from each of the directions. If you'd like to create your own elevation, you do that from your floor plan. Again, you go to your View tab, Create Panel, and you can see the elevation tool right here. If you click on the drop-down dialog box, you can see that you can pick elevation or framing elevation. For this video, we'll just look at the elevation. When you select that tool, you'll notice that the elevation marker follows your cursor around, and as you get near a wall, the marker changes direction to be perpendicular to the wall that it is nearest. If I left click, I will place that elevation. I can click on that arrow and you'll see where the elevation is being taken from and how far the depth of view is. You can drag that to see the entire view. If I double click on the arrow, it'll take me to that elevation. I'm going to close these floor plans so we can take a look at the elevation that this is creating. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one. You can see that this view is from this blue bar, and it is looking to the right of our screen and seeing the entire building. If I drag the depth of field towards me, you can see that the roof is starting to be cut off because you don't see past this line. Or again, I can drag it to see the entire building. A section view is similar to an elevation view, as it is a vertical projection of the building. However, section view slices through the building so you can actually see inside. It is created in the same way as the elevation. You go to your View tab, Create Panel, and you can see that the section tool is right here. Once you select the section tool, Revit will want you to left click and drag to the next position that you want the section view to encompass. When I click again, you can see that it looks very similar to the elevation, where you can see the line that the view is taken from, and the depth of field is shown by the dashed line. You will also notice in the project browser that a section has been created. I'm going to close this elevation view, and I can double click on the blue arrow for the section, or I can double click in the project browser, and either way will take me to the section view. If I highlight the section view cut in the floor plan, I can change the depth of view, and you can see as I did that the back wall disappeared. If I drag this to encompass the black back wall, you can see that it has appeared again. And if I move in front of the roof ridge, you can see that this is the roof where it is cut at the section line, and this is the outside of the roof looking back. Section views also, if you highlight them, can change direction with this flip selection arrow here. And now we're looking in the other direction. With sections and elevations, I'm going to turn this section back the other way. You do not necessarily need to have a straight line here. If there is something on this side of the building you want to see, but yet you want to back this portion behind the original cut line, you can use a split segment here. Once you select that tool, Revit will want you to pick a point along the section cut line and drag to the new location. And you can see in the section view how the roof is cut at different heights because of this jog. I'm going to return that to a straight line and show you one last thing for section view cuts. If I go to my 3D view, I can right-click on the view cube and go to the tool Orient to View, and since I have created a section, section 1, I can make that selection. Once I select that, what Revit did was orient my 3D view to that section cut. It looks exactly like my section view until I press my shift down and my wheel, and I can rotate the model. And you can see that it is the 3D view of the model with a section box around it. I can push and pull this section box so I can cut the model wherever I wish. This section box is also found in the Property View palette. If I scroll down, you can see it is here. If I uncheck the box, it will go away and will no longer cut the model. If I bring it back, you can see that it is reset to the entire model. I can highlight the section box and push and pull to cut the model in the way that I want.